You know, it's funny. When I think this team is down and out, they pull a game off like they did on Saturday. Wow. And it wasn't pretty at first. Down 3-0 after the first. Sean Clifford looking as terrible as ever. Crowd was on his ass since warm-ups. The boos. A mix of boos. Crowd booing Franklin, but you know, in that whiteout environment, sometimes magical things happen, and boy, they dropped a bombshell on Minnesota. The Penn State Nittany Lions are now 6-1 on the year after the 45-17 win over the Golden Gophers this past Saturday night in Happy Valley during the whiteout. And I found this out after I recorded my video. It was the Generations of Greatness game where they wear their special uniforms for it. So all that mixed in, yeah, they probably weren't losing. So this team definitely struggled early on, but then Sean Clifford, man, turned it into 23 of 31, 295, 4 TDs, an interception. Nick Singleton was the leading rusher of the night. Katon Allen as well. Theo Johnson, Parker Washington, Mitchell Tinsley. They finally got their guys involved in the passing game. You have a guy like Theo Johnson, who was the number 1 tight end a couple years ago when he was recruited out of Canada. Get him involved. Parker Washington, he's supposed to be your main guy. Get him involved. You're finally spreading the ball around, and that's how you win a ball game. 4 guys on the receiving corps. 4 different players had touchdowns. Johnson, Washington, Tinsley, Warner, Nick Singleton, 2 rushing touchdowns. That's how you win. You gotta spread it around. You gotta get everyone involved, and that's what they did. And then the defense had a day as well. Curtis Jacobs, Abdul Carter, Jair Brown, Jonathan Sutherland, Kalen King, and Jalen Reed as well. That was a game they needed. They needed a game like that. Granted, it just so happened to be the whiteout game as well, which, like I said, if you start to get iffy, that crowd can turn on you. And boy, it started to do that after the first, but man, they turned it on after that, and it was all them. All them. It was 17-10 at the half, and then a 21-0 blank in the third quarter. And then both teams got a touchdown in the fourth, but it was well over by then. Dominating in the first downs. Rushing yards got it. Passing yards got it. Total offense. Yeah, it was all Penn State, and they definitely needed a game like that against Minnesota. So, good on them. 109,813. That's just an environment, and they are definitely going to need that for this Saturday because, oh boy, it is time for the Ohio State Buckeyes. The number 2 ranked Buckeyes come into Beaver Stadium for a noon kickoff on Fox, the big noon kickoff, whatever the hell it is. This is complete BS. This should have been the whiteout game. I hate this new affiliation with Fox. Sucks that they're leaving ESPN, so that won't happen, but this should have been the whiteout game. I mean, come on, what are we doing here? But nevertheless, Ohio State leads the series 23-14. Obviously, the Ohio State Buckeyes won last year, and it is number 13 against number 2. Quick look at Ohio State. Notre Dame, obviously undefeated. They beat Notre Dame, Arkansas State, Toledo, Wisconsin, Rutgers, Michigan State, and Iowa coming into this one. Penn State, Purdue win. Ohio, Auburn, Central Michigan, Northwestern, the loss to Michigan, and the win against Minnesota last week. So, obviously, Ohio State, big favorites, double-digit favorites. How about 15.5 in favor of the Buckeyes? But don't let that deteriorate you for something, because, yes, Ohio State has dominated this series. I mean, the last win Penn State had was in 2016. But before that, it was 2008. And then before that, it was 2005. It's been all Ohio State this series, and rightfully so. C.J. Stroud, the quarterback there, having himself a year. over 2,000 passing yards, 28 TDs, 4 interceptions. Definitely will be up for the Heisman, and we'll see where he goes from there in the NFL. Ohio State just dominating all the rankings for offense, defense. Number 1 offense in the Big Ten. Number 2 defense in the Big Ten. Number 1 in scoring offense, team sacks, third down defense percentage, second and third down offense percentage. It's Ohio State. What do we expect here? It's Ohio State for a reason. But like I said, going back to the spread, James Franklin in his tenure at Penn State has covered the spread more times against Ohio State than he hasn't since he took the job. So it's 15.5. That's a reasonable number for what Ohio State has been doing and what Penn State's been doing. But I think Penn State can cover this. They don't win against Ohio State, but they do cover. It was 33-24 last year, 38-25, 28-17, 27-26, 39-38, and then 24-21 the last time he beat him in 2016. So, it's interesting. Interesting in a way that this game can go one of two ways. It could be the complete Ohio State blowout, like most of the media is expecting it to be. Or you get the fight. Now, I was hoping more for a fight against Michigan, but it's sort of weird. I think this team can play better against Ohio State than they do against Michigan, because a lot of the Michigan games have been blowouts in favor of the Wolverines. They play Ohio State tough, this team. They really do. So, I don't know. I really don't know. You got to continue to spread the ball around. That's going to be key. They're going to need another big game from Clifford. If they're going to want to have any chance, you need to get the running game going, which Lord help us on that one. But I don't know. It's going to be an Ohio State win. I'm not going to fool yourselves. Ohio State is probably going to win this game. The over-under is 61. OSU heavy favorites in the money line. So don't even think about taking, unless you're just throwing a parlay together of everyone's favorites on Saturday in college football, don't even bother picking Ohio State money line, because it's like minus 660. So, I don't know. I really don't know. It could go one of two ways, like I said. So, probably the Ohio State blowout, if I gotta be honest. But, like I've said, they play Ohio State tough. There's been a lot of close games between these two teams over the past couple years, and if they continue to hang around, they might have a chance. But, again, it is Ohio State. They can just, like that, turn it on. So, gonna need the crowd loud and strong at Beaver Stadium for the Saturday noon kickoff, and we'll just have to take it from there. So, that's gonna do it for this one. Short, sweet, but it's Ohio State. What really is there more to talk about? Because they can, like I said, turn the game in their direction in up to a play or two. So we'll just have to see what happens. That's going to do it. Thank you all for watching for this one, of course. My name is Trevor, and I'll see you for the next one. We are